Intro music.
Wait, that's not it.
What?
He's no good to me, Dad.
Intro music. Intro music.
Bounty hunting is a complicated
Bounty
profession.
hunting is a complicated profession. There we are. We're back.
Are you sure?
I think
Is it
so.
really? I can't believe it's already the 15th month of 2020.
I know, right? Can you believe it? We are all.
It's
We're in 2023 already. It's been so long.
yeah, this is
Oh, my
nuts. But we
goodness.
are back. We apologize for our delay, but we are Banter Beskar and Bantha Milk.
We
Rob,
sure
what does
are.
that mean? What does that make us?
That makes us a Mandalorian podcast, but
sure
more
does.
importantly, we're now venturing out into the world of all of Star Wars.
All Star Wars.
All
We
of
accept
Star Wars.
all Star Wars content
That's
in all
right.
of its shapes or forms. Nick and Rob here coming at you once again. It's been almost a month, and that's my fault. I apologize about that. I am in the midst of moving. I'm in the new HQ here for our mobile HQ. Rob has his HQ. I have my HQ.
There you go.
But Rob is in the authentic Bantha Milk headquarters
Yes.
down in the basement there on his Mandalorian themed chair over there.
That's right.
If you haven't been with us in a while, Rob created that chair based on the Mandalorian, our boy Kyle, the Mandalorian's chair on the Razor Crest, and it's a beaut. It's a beaut.
Thank you very much. So,
Hey,
yep,
so-
I'm down
so
here.
we are back.
Back, finally back. Let's tell people, because not only have we not been broadcasting for quite some time, but we've neglected all of our social medias at the same time.
I know. Yeah. So,
So-
you're gonna be hearing a lot more from us here now that I'm actually stationary and all of my belongings are in one place. But we do have loads of social media accounts that you need to come and follow right now. Right.
Correct.
We are on Facebook and Instagram. You can catch us at Bantha Milk Podcast. You can catch us on Twitter at Bantha Milk, right? You can catch us at our website, banthamilkpodcast.com. And of course, all of this is happening and given to you through our newly acquired Ears Up family, right? And why don't you tell our listeners about this
Yes,
family?
Ears Up hyphen podcast is their main website. There are our what's the word? Parent organization. They are a Disneyland podcast, but more importantly, they've incorporated us just like Walt Disney has incorporated Lucasfilms. They've incorporated us into the thing. So there's lots to check out there. They have all kinds of really cool podcasts as well. They've been around for a long, long time. They have lots of great content. All about different things to do in Disney, especially now that Disney just reopened here in the United States. They're telling you things to do without actually making it into the park and other things like that. They do reviews of rides and stuff. They have a whole bunch of different shows. There's another show, The Supreme Resort, is also under the Ears Up hyphen podcast community. If you want to support the Ears Up hyphen podcast community, there's a couple ways you can do that. One, you can go to Patreon and type in Ears Up. You can also go.
No, we should mention that it's Ears with a Z.
Ears with a Z, yes. Ears with a Z. Ears Up. So the website, earswithaz-up-podcast.com. You can find them on Patreon the same way. If you go to their website, earsup-podcast.com, they have a support us page where you can click on an Amazon link. So when you do all of your Amazon shopping, click on that link first. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it just throws a little bit back to the Ears Up community. They also have an Etsy shop, etsy.com/shop/covears, C-O-V.
Oh,
ears.
right. They're Cove Ears. I forgot about the Cove Ears.
Yes. So they have a little bit of Cove Ears stuff, but they also have a lot of T-shirts and things like that.
So what are Cove Ears, Rob?
Cove Ears is a thing that Jason, one of the main person on Ears Up, they came up with this concept. When you're walking around the park, you have your Mickey Mouse hat on. The Cove Ears are these little things you slip over top of the ears to make your Mickey Mouse ears different than everybody else's Mickey Mouse ears. So it was a neat concept that he came up with. He got all kinds of patents and everything to be able to do it. But now they're selling a lot more T-shirts, Ears Up T-shirts. They have some really cool. They have this churros logo, which is a castle made out of churros. They have that on a sweatshirt and a bunch of other stuff. We might even be able to get them to get our Bantha Milk podcast logo on a T-shirt on there someday soon. So they're all different ways to support the show. So please check them out, support them.
And just so you're aware, first of all, my cat is walking across the screen right now.
I saw that, yes.
Supporting Ears Up also supports us because
Yes.
any help to them, they funnel down to us. They've been awesome to us. They've been helping us out with some equipment issues. They've invited us on their show. My cat is just in the background.
He's in the
Just having a
background.
good
It was
time
awesome.
here.
It's very entertaining.
But they are. I mean, my cats are just trying to. I mean, they've only been in this house for like 5 days, so they're still kind of getting the lay it
So
all
they're
in.
stoked. They're trying to figure it all out.
But yeah, check out Ears Up. Check out their Patreon. Check out their website. There's a link to our podcast on their website,
Correct.
as well as all their different affiliates. So,
Yep.
check out.
So check out
Ears
the
Up and all of them.
whole Ears Up community. Check us all out there on Ears Up
yes, indeed.
with a Z, earsup-podcast.com.
That's right. Now we are, of course, about the banter, and we are about the Bantha milk. We've been having some, less unified. Wow, Dexter.
One of your cats is very vocal. He's angry that
Dexter,
you.
he's just like he's been wandering the house, looking around, like meowing. Like I don't know what this is.
He's like,
Someone
what's going
help me."
on? This is not the house. This is not
It
our
is
house.
not.
This
There's
is
plenty
not our
more
house.
room, so he's got to just get over it.
Yeah, he just has to
So
deal.
yeah, we haven't had a really unified vision because we can't get together and drink together. Unfortunately, I'm sure
Unfortunately,
you
yeah.
have all felt this unfortunate reality of life today. So normally we have like a nice Star Wars themed drink. The last couple of weeks, we've just been kind of, going flying by the seat of our pants, having a drink and talking some Star Wars. But our friend Rob here has an exciting beverage he would like to make for us.
So-
while he does that, I'm just going to be drinking some Jameson Irish whiskey that a buddy of mine dropped by as a housewarming gift.
There you go.
But Rob, tell us about your drink.
So I just created something here. It's kind of like a Neapolitan ice cream concept. But I'm going to call it the George Lucas because we have some feedback this week, and one of our feedback came from somebody named Matt. Says that there's a rumor out there and the only reason I'm tying it together is because there's this rumor out there. One has absolutely nothing to do with the other, but the rumor is about George Lucas, and rumor is George Lucas to replace Kathleen Kennedy and launch the Star Wars verse. So
I heard that.
there is rumors that George Lucas is taking over. So because of that rumor, I decided to name this drink after him. It's cherry Coke, vanilla vodka, and then chocolate tequila from Mexico. We got this chocolate tequila in Mexico. So
All right.
chocolate tequila from Mexico. So vanilla, chocolate, and cherry instead of strawberry. Vanilla, chocolate, and cherry. That's where I get the almost Neapolitan out there. But what do you think, Nick, about George Lucas rumor taking over and creating a new Star Wars verse?
I kind of love it because just think about the poetry behind this guy who created this empire, sold it for how much did he sell?
$2 billion.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Dude, like so much money. He just, all right, well, I've done what I need to. I'm just going to sell it. He made his money, and now they're just going to ask him to come back because they realize something's not right. So it's just great. I feel like it's got to be, maybe not, but it's got to be great to be George Lucas and be feeling like, all right, I made my money, and they're still calling me to come
Right.
crawling back.
Now, two questions with this. One, my first thing is I think that if anybody's going to take over the reins of the Star Wars universe, it's not going to be George Lucas, but it's going to be our good friend Dave Filoni. Because
I would hope so, for sure.
as of
I think
recently,
Dave Filoni has a better grasp on Star Wars than George Lucas does.
I agree. He has his hands in everything that's going on in Star Wars right now. So if anybody would take over, I think it would be him.
Even if he didn't right away, he's still relatively young. It'd be interesting for them to bring on George Lucas and then have, because Dave is kind of like a disciple of George Lucas.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to have them work hand in hand for then George to hand the reins basically over to Dave Filoni after it's all done. Because it really does seem like Dave Filoni is the spiritual sort of I guess the torch is being passed to him, basically, spiritually speaking, between George Lucas and Dave Filoni. It's like, all right, he's passing the baton. It's yours now.
Yeah, and if you watch the behind the scenes of The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, there was a lot in there where George Lucas came to visit the set, and you could tell Dave Filoni was like a little kid at Christmas. Like, look at all the cool toys we have, George. Like, let me show you what we can do now.
Hey,
Let me show you this. Yeah, hey, Dad,
come see how cool this is.
check this out. And like begging for George Lucas's approval. Like, what do you think of this? And George is like, oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. But it's almost like he's was trying so hard to impress George Lucas with all the cool things that they have.
Well, hopefully it worked because they got some cool stuff on that set for sure.
Oh, most definitely. So Matt actually said, if George Lucas comes back, which George Lucas do you think we're going to get? The original trilogy George Lucas or the prequel George Lucas?
I really hope it's not prequel George. And I know that's a popular bandwagon to jump on and everything, but I just watched through the prequels again, and I've said many times on this show that I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm gonna like Star Wars, basically no matter what. But there are just some moments where I was like, George, what are you doing, buddy?
Yeah,
like this is not. You had to know this was not great.
I think, and same thing that I've said the same thing that with the prequels, George felt that he finally had the technology to make the stuff look so cool that he forgot what made the original trilogy so good was the storytelling. Right. So I think if George does come back, if this rumor is true, which once again it's just a rumor, we don't like to
propagate rumors.
Yeah, propagate rumors. But if this does in fact happen, I think he's going to really focus on the story because he knows all the technology is now there. He doesn't have to try and build the technology the way he did with the prequels. It's all there, like it's so advanced.
I feel like the prequels was like his, all right, I think the technology's there now, but it wasn't quite.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was like, yeah, we've got all this more technology than we had 20-some years ago, but like it's not like it is today. I'm sure I'm saying that now, and in 20 years I'm going to be like, oh, man, J.J. Abrams was really trying to work with whatever technology he had in 2017, but man, 2037 is off the chain.
So, but we're always going to feel that way 20 years from now. We're going to look back on, those old ones. They should redo the old ones and do them all over. Talking about all 9 of the original movies, like.
Now, that is a question. What is sacred? Because they remake everything.
They do.
Are we going to get a Star Wars remake someday, like a New Hope remake?
Like the Top Gun remake and, Point Break, where they remade Point Break and the remake was awful. I hope not. I think the Star Wars fans don't want remakes. They don't want you to do it again but make it look better. They want you to expand the universe. So I doubt we're ever going to get it.
Does it really matter what the fans want? The fans didn't ask for a live-action Aladdin, but they forced that on us too, didn't they?
That happened, and the live-action was nowhere near the story that the original one was. I hated.
I liked Disney. I actually, where a lot of people didn't like it, I liked the Beauty and the Beast live-action. Okay. I thought it was kind of nice. Aladdin was my childhood, and it just felt like they were like taking my child, like my inner child, and just punching it in the gut.
100%. Like just the way they changed, like some of the most iconic lines in the movie, like "Do you trust me?" When they changed that, and he just said it differently, and I'm like, oh, you totally ruined it with that one line. Just the way you did that one line, you totally ruined it because it was such a focal point. But I digress. We're back to Star Wars.
So I saw you taking a sip there. Did you finish your drink?
I did not finish it. I mean, I mixed it all together, so it's okay. I mean, it's not great. It's for making something up 5 minutes before the show. It'll do.
All right.
I wouldn't even give it a Chewbacca. It's like somewhere in the middle, maybe a Chewbacca, but it's definitely not going to be up at in any of the Yodas, or even Leia. No, not even close to that.
So somewhere between an Ewok and Chewbacca.
Yeah,
something like that. If you remember what our grading system is for drinks, number 1, it means you're one of the diehard original fans. But number 2, maybe you can help us out because I kind of forget sometimes. It's kind of a sliding scale.
It is a very sliding scale.
It never stays in the same spot.
No.
Oh, boy.
Hold on. There's something. All right. I think the Google Meet was doing some weird things here. I don't know what's going on, but I think we're still okay.
That's good.
Yeah, so that's good. But yeah, so back to our thing. It's a sliding scale. I even switched. One, Jar Jar Binks that's never sliding, and that's always horrible.
That's down at the bottom.
And then
that's our giggling Yoda
That's
there.
our giggling Yoda. That's always going to be all the way at the bottom. And then I even switched, in my opinion, Porgs and Ewoks around because, I liked Ewoks better than Porgs, and I let you talk me into Ewoks being bad. But then we had, what was before Chewbacca? I don't remember anymore. Chewie?
I thought it was just
oh, yeah, Porgs and Ewoks, and then Chewbacca.
Yeah, and then Chewie was our first like good drink specification. This is all very convoluted and it's exactly how we like it.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, I'm just going to take a sip of this Jameson. Smells nice, Irish whiskey.
And that'll probably be a lot better than a Chewbacca, I'm sure.
If I'm being honest, it could use some ice.
There you
That's
go.
okay.
Okay.
So anyway.
We have one more feedback. Somebody else. Mark.
People are talking to us?
Yes, people are talking to us.
Where can they send us email?
Oh, that's a great question. So they can send us email at banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com.
What a thought.
What a thought.
What did Mark have to say?
So Mark said there's an article out there about our good friend Qui-Gon Jinn. Did you ever hear of this guy?
Never once in my life, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, there's an article that says he might actually be a Skywalker.
Really?
Yes. So I was like, what? So,
explain.
So the article basically is saying that Skywalker, now that Rey at the end of the movie says, what's your last name? Rey Skywalker. That Skywalker is basically a level of Jedi highness. Like, you got Jedi Master, and then Skywalker would be considered like a version of Jedi Master.
Like a Jedi Skywalker.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's clear that Qui-Gon Jinn has a deep understanding of the Force. One could even say he was, as Screen Rant puts it, the agent of balance in Anakin Skywalker's time. And that, ladies and gentlemen, would make him a Skywalker because he was able to... Anakin was bad, he was the good, keeping the Force equal, there's always a good and a bad. So he was the good to Anakin's bad, which would make him a Skywalker.
I don't like it.
I don't like it either. No.
I mean, I feel like it's just like, and I guess like fans right now, I mean, we're in a, like I said last show, we're in a Star Wars black hole right now. There's not a whole lot going on. So I feel like when that happens, people get bored and they come up with conspiracy theories, foil hat stuff. I mean, it's cool. It's a cool thought that maybe like later on, like they honor the Skywalker legacy by, adding that as a rank or something like that.
Right, but no.
Ray, you're not a Skywalker. Dude.
You're not a Skywalker.
Sorry.
If you're a Skywalker, I'm a Skywalker. So you're not.
And
you can want to be. You can. I've even tried moving a broom. I think Broom Boy is more of a Skywalker than I am because I've even tried to do that and I can't. So.
Dude, I don't know about you. I'm a grown man. I know you are too. I still every now and then when I'm laying down, I want to get some. Just try. I just try. Like maybe it'll work this time.
100%. Just like in Mallrats.
Oh my God, there's a reference right there.
When Kevin Smith, Silent Bob, was determined that he had the Force in him, and he kept trying to use it, and finally at the end of the movie, he thought that he used the Force, but somebody actually just banged something and it went into his hand. But in his eyes, he finally used the Force. I mean, all the time. You got it. That's part of being a Star Wars fan. Is
one day it's gonna work.
It's gonna work.
If you are a Star Wars fan out there and you don't try to use the Force at least once or twice a year, send us an email and let us know because I don't think that seems crazy to me.
Or
it just seems crazy to me.
Or when you go into a store that has the automatic doors, how many times do you do this? And you do one of these. I'm using the Force, opening the doors all the time.
Yeah, 32 years old, 22 years old, 15 years. It doesn't really
46
matter.
Years old. It doesn't matter. You're going to keep doing it. You do it to impress your kids, and then after a while, they're like, "Dad, you're embarrassing me." But it's
that's when you know, wow, my kids have even gotten too old for this.
Yeah. I know. All right, so that's it for feedback. You want to get into some Star Wars news?
I do. I really, really do.
Do you want to hit us up with the first one, or do you want to?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess some of the big news that we've got here is that if you watched the most recent season and the final season of the Clone Wars, that one of the big arcs on this season was the Bad Batch series arc with this squadron of clone troopers with
mutations,
right?
yes.
Basically the X-Men of Clone Wars, right? And so it was apparently very well received, and they're now coming out with a TV series called The Bad Batch.
It'll be awesome.
Which is produced by, of course, none other than Dave Filoni. Also producing it is Athena Portillo, who worked on Clone Wars and Rebels, Brad Rao, who worked on Rebels and Resistance, and Jennifer Corbett, who worked on Resistance. It's supposed to take place immediately after Clone Wars, and just kind of deal with the Bad Batch and how they adjust to life after the Clone Wars, to which I am really interested because just getting into Rebels, if you've watched Rebels, they talk a little bit about what happened to the clones after the Clone Wars. They were basically retired and decommissioned, and there's a lot of clones just kind of all over the galaxy, like either probably selling their swords, so to say, as like a mercenary or something, or else trying to find some sort of quiet, peaceful life. And it probably is going to deal with a lot of the psychological issues behind Order 66. You know what I mean? Like them dealing with thoughts of, I can't believe I did that. I didn't have any control. We killed all the Jet. Like I don't know. I think it's going to be a very interesting look into post Clone Wars politics in the galaxy. I think that's kind of cool. I don't know if you could hear the lightning and thunder behind me.
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah, I could. Yeah, it's crazy.
But yeah, so I'm excited about that.
Yes, I am too. Because they were fun in their little mini story arc. Each of the 5 guys each had their own special talents and stuff like that. And I guess now also we'll see if the other guy that they rescued, I forget what his name was. Is he going? I don't know if you know if he's going to be in it as well, or if they're just sticking with the original.
Returning characters that I have seen that are more either confirmed or likely confirmed are Cody, Rex, Wolf, Echo, and Ahsoka.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess it says we're going to see Ahsoka, but we know that in Rebels, Rex hadn't seen Ahsoka in a while, right? So yeah. I don't know if maybe they're going to cross paths or not, but I don't know. Seems like it's going to be. Now, if I'm being honest, if I sat here and they said, all right, we have a new Star Wars TV show coming out. What should it be about? The Bad Batch is not one of my top 10 I would have picked.
No, not at all. But I think it'll be
I still don't think it's going to be bad because it's Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
There's plenty of things that I want to know about Star Wars, and I want them to dissect more. I think that they intentionally stay away from a lot of Jedi and Sith stuff. They want to keep it light. They don't want to get too, I don't know, maybe lofty or esoteric. But I want more lore about Jedi and Sith. I want to see more Force stuff. But
sure.
I don't know. I guess I'm sure I'm not alone in that, but I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who think enough Force. There's plenty of Star Wars
9
in
movies
the galaxy
about
without
it. So we can go on and see other stuff that's going on. So I think it'll be fun. I think going off of Clone Wars and Rebels were both very well written, very well produced. Dave Filoni had his hands in both of those, so I'm sure it's going to be another good story arc and whatever. So it'll be pretty cool. So that's a good one. Our friend Pedro Pascal, you may know him as Kyle.
Kyle Mandalorian.
So Kyle
Jin Djarin.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he was in another movie, or going to be in a movie, or however you're going to put it, because of this whole epidemic that's going on, where movies are. You
might have heard about this epidemic.
I think you might have heard. Yeah, there's something weird going on. I don't remember exactly what it is, but he's in a movie coming out with a girl named Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. How do you say her last name?
I'm not really sure. I can't say anybody's name. Gadot. I think it's Gadot. I don't think you say the T. Yeah, but Wonder Woman 1984. So he was.
Oh, he's going to be in that movie.
Yeah, so he's in the movie with her in that, and then also we know him from The Mandalorian. So Entertainment Weekly just recently asked him, who did you prefer working with, Gale or the Baby Yoda? And he said. Or Gal.
Is it Gal or is it Gal?
It's Gal. I'm sorry. Right. He said, I would take Gal over any creature in the universe, Pascal told Entertainment Weekly's Heroes issue. But Baby Yoda is not too shabby. A very easygoing scene partner. He always makes me feel very tall and needed. So
Well, that's nice.
I can't really disagree with him. I would definitely pick a scene with Gal Gadot as well because, Wonder Woman over Baby Yoda, I think Wonder Woman.
I don't know. I've seen I liked Wonder Woman, but Baby Yoda is pretty legit. I don't know. It'd be a real toss-up. It really would.
Be a toss-up for you.
Baby Yoda is. I don't know who would win in a fight, Baby Yoda or Wonder Woman.
Oh, that's a great question.
Hey, let us know. Tell us on Instagram, on Twitter. Send us an email.
I think that's going to be a tweet
we'll
tomorrow.
We'll shout you out on our next show. Let us know who you think would win in a fight and why. Either Wonder Woman or our boy Baby Yoda.
That's a great
and I would
question.
like for you to give me some reasons behind.
Yes.
This is do your homework. Give us, and we'll go ahead and share your theories on our next show.
On our next show, I like it. I think we definitely need to tweet and Instagram that out to
yes, indeed.
See if anybody responds to us. I like that. My second news story: a friend of ours, Giancarlo Esposito, pretty cool guy. He says,
Gideon.
Yes, he says the Mandalorian is what we need right now. According to Esposito, The Mandalorian gives Star Wars fans an example to look up to, showing everyone what service and duty to others looks like. The Mandalorian is iconic. It's a hero's journey. It's a hero's story, and people need heroes right now. We don't have heroes that we can look up to, so we got to be each other's heroes. Esposito said during his discussion with the entertainment news outlet, so that's what Mandalorian does for us. It allows us to stand up and see an example of someone just doing his duty in service to someone else and the journey. So he's basically saying the Mandalorian's the type of person that we should all be. Be a guy who's...
This is the way.
Do your job. This is the way, exactly.
Right. You're right. And I guess it's cool, too, because it's like it's real. It's not a perfect representation of how people should be.
Right.
It's an example of someone who was kind of thrust into these circumstances and had a choice to make between the easy / selfish thing to do and the right thing to do. And he decided, not that it was like easy, because that's not what humanity is. Humanity isn't, man, that's the right thing to do, so I'm going to do that. And that's super easy, right? Sometimes the right thing to do is hard. And I think that The Mandalorian is a good example of that.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's great. I agree totally.
There you go. My next news story, our friend John Boyega.
I know him.
Yes.
I'm a fan of his.
He's done playing Finn. He says no more Finn.
Darn.
Yes. He said on Twitter, a person sent him a tweet. Tech Stevo wrote, "Force Finn in action with green lightsaber dressed in black is all I want from the next Star Wars film." To which Boyega responded. He said, "LOL, no thank you, I've moved on." And then somebody responded back to him saying, Sam Kim _1 then responded in the chain to Boyega, "Really? Just got those Disney bucks and dipped?" To which he responded again. I give him credit for actually responding because, not a lot of people, they don't read the comments, they don't talk back or anything like that. He said, "Nope, not into playing one role for too long. I have more to offer than that. That's all." So he's basically saying, I'm done playing Finn. I did it for 3 movies, and I don't want to continue to just be Finn. I want to be other things.
I get that. I think part of that is a PR spin. I'm sure, and he has been pretty vocal on his displeasure with kind of how the Star Wars fan base treats Star Wars and those who are involved with it.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if part of his decision is that, I did the movies, it was a great time, but I need out of this toxic fan base, because I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but the Star Wars fan base is toxic.
Yep.
Or at least it can be.
It can be, yes.
Just look at, what's the girl who played Rose Tico, is that her name?
Rose Tico, yeah. I think
she played what's her name?
Yes, I know who you're talking about. But
anyway.
Yes,
so she got ran off of Instagram.
Yeah.
Because people didn't like her character, and so because they didn't necessarily like the direction her character brought the movie, they attacked her on Instagram.
Yep.
And I don't know, Kelly Marie Tran.
There you go. Good job.
Kelly Marie Tran plays Rose Tico. And he was pretty outspoken about that when it happened. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the newer, younger Star Wars stars, I guess, decided, I'm okay.
Yeah,
I'm done.
I'm done.
Because it's got to be hard. Like the
Oh, yeah.
second you're thrust into a Star Wars film, you've got immediately millions of predestined fans who are going to judge everything you do.
Yep.
It's tough.
It's tough. And especially, like, you have the original cast, Han Solo, Leia, Luke, those guys. They can pretty much get away with anything and fans are going to like them. But anybody new to the universe, if you're not exactly what every single fan wanted, somebody's telling you why you were an awful character and an awful person and all this other stuff. So I can totally understand why John said, "I'm done. I've done enough."
Yeah,
and now
and to
on.
be honest, I thought he had a load of potential in The Force Awakens, and I think he was kind of a wasted character after that.
Yes,
there was so many, I feel like, false flags in that first movie he was in about his latent Force potential, and they kept on teasing that as it went on, but it didn't really go anywhere.
No.
And I think that all comes down to, again, something we talk a lot about is that lack of a unified vision for this trilogy.
Yes.
And I think he was just him, and honestly, Poe and Finn, I think were kind of the same. Poe got a little better fleshed out kind of arc. In the first one, he was like this hotshot pilot, and then the second one, he got too big for his britches, and then the third one, he became the leader, I guess you can kind of say.
Yeah,
I think
and he wasn't
just a little lost.
Yeah, there were three different, concepts there. It wasn't one flowing concept.
Yeah.
So that's that. The next news story that I had, this is a fun one because, like you said, we're in kind of a black hole right now. So.
Sure.
Star Wars fans discover 6 new viewing orders for the franchise. So you've already watched it. They're going to give you 6 different ways that you can watch it. Now, I'm not going to – this is from the website We Got This Covered. So if you go to wegotThisCovered.com and then, Google whatever, Star Wars 6 new viewing orders, you can get the whole article, and they have pictures and stuff showing you exactly how to watch it, but they have 6 different cuts. I'll just briefly go through each of them. The ultimate chronological order, pretty self-explanatory and follows the timeline directly from start to finish, including the Clone Wars, Rebels, and the Mandalorian to your watch list to be fully immersed. So they put it all in order with even with all the spin-offs and stuff like that.
Yeah, Pagan wanted to do that. My wife wanted to do that right at the beginning of this whole quarantine thing where we started with episode 1, 2, and then from episode 2 watched the entirety of Clone Wars.
Right.
And that sounds like a great. It just seems so time consuming.
Oh yes. And also it's not even all of Clone Wars. You would watch 1, 2, 3, then the Clone Wars season 1 episode 1 through season 7 episode 9.
Right.
Then 1, 2. The Clone Wars movie, the cartoon Clone Wars movie.
Oh, God, no.
And then the Clone Wars series up through Season 7, Episode 9. Then Episode 3. Then Episodes 10 through 12 of the Clone Wars, because as we discussed on a previous episode, the end of it there was, intermingled, concurrent with Episode 3. And then Solo, Rebels, and then continuing on from there. So, so... You're talking hours. I don't even know, 20,
days.
40 days. Yeah, like so many hours. Then they have the Anakin Skywalker cut. Again, pretty much what it says on the tin, even though it starts with Rogue One, where Darth Vader's appearance was limited to a brief cameo and involves jumping between the movies and certain episodes of the TV shows to get a better understanding of Anakin's journey towards the dark side. Now, this is something that you discussed a lot because during Clone Wars, the animated series, you really get a deeper understanding of Anakin than you do just going from episode 2 to episode 3. You're just like, suddenly Anakin just like hates everybody. So in the Clone Wars, then, that helps out with that.
I've said, like you said, I said before, like if you just watch the movies, it's, wow, this Anakin guy sure turned out to be a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you watch the show as well, you see all the complex layers of, being a bad guy doesn't just mean you're a bad guy, and it doesn't happen just because you're bad. It happens because these particular set of circumstances make you do crazy things, which snowball, right? And so you don't get to see that snowball unless you see it at the top of the hill and at the bottom of the hill.
Exactly.
The movies, we basically get to see the snowball at the top of the hill and the giant
one at the bottom.
rock
Yeah.
at the bottom, without seeing how it got there.
Yeah, you missed you missed it rolling all the way down, getting larger. Yes.
Yeah. So if you consider yourself a big Star Wars fan, but you haven't seen the Clone Wars and you think that like the prequels were not so great, again, I'd say it all the time, but do yourself a favor and try and watch the Clone Wars. They are tough to get through the first couple of seasons, but once you get to season 3, things really pick up. And again, if you like Google the Clone Wars necessary episodes, you'll find like Reddit posts and stuff like that of like just the biggest episodes. If you want to catch the main important arcs and you want to skip the R2D2 and C3PO go crazy, wild antics adventures.
Yeah, skip over all that nonsense.
Yeah.
They have 4 other cuts. The Mandalorian cut, obviously, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni's Disney Plus hit, factors heavily into this one, but widens the scope to focus on both the planet of Mandalore and the citizens that dwell there. So a lot of Clone War stuff, some Rebel stuff, and then the Mandalorian. This is a fun one. The alternate machete order.
Machete. Yeah, the machete order. The machete order has been around for a long time, actually.
Okay. It's a fan favorite method of watching Star Wars that jumps between the original and prequel trilogy while ignoring the Phantom Menace entirely. And this updated version kicks off with Rogue One and involves every live-action movie with the exception of Solo. So they have an alternate version to the machete order.
Because the machete order was out before any of the newer movies. It was out like when the prequels were finished, when we just had the first 3 and then the next 3.
Okay.
They came out with this machete order that was like supposedly optimal for storytelling and
okay, whatever. The Luke Skywalker cut, the most straightforward and linear of the 6 new viewing methods that focus solely on Luke's arc. It also avoids the prequel trilogy for those that can't bear the thought of dealing with trade hearings and Jar Jar Binks ever again. So you're basically just skipping the first 3 episodes. And then last but not least, the Ahsoka cut. Before she makes her long-awaited live-action debut in The Mandalorian, the Ahsoka cut puts the focus squarely on one of the expanded universe's biggest breakout characters and is the only one that doesn't involve any of the movies at all. So in the Ahsoka cut, there's a whole bunch of Clone Wars, Rebels. So it has Clone Wars jumping around throughout all 7 seasons. It's not every single episode. And then going into the Rebels, where then she's in those episodes. So basically, if you want to watch the Clone Wars and Rebels, only the best episodes that have Ahsoka in it, then this will tell you how exactly to do that.
And Ahsoka is a part of some of the best storylines in Star Wars.
Yes.
I mean, she's a part of the Mortis episodes where we get to meet like the father, the son, and the brother and the sister, I guess they are.
Yeah.
And that's just some crazy cool Force lore weirdness.
Yes.
I mean, she's involved in like the attack on the Jedi Temple that she was framed for. So that's a really cool storyline. She's obviously involved in the Siege of Mandalore in season 8, which was some of the best Star Wars content I've seen.
Yes.
Ahsoka, I think, is like the new breakout character for Star Wars, and I think part of it is we finally have like a female Jedi that's like, I don't know when else in Star Wars aside from Rey, who is a fairly new addition. When else have we like had a female character that was we followed for a long period of time, that was strong in the Force? I mean, you can make an argument for Leia, but Leia didn't really use the Force until her Mary Poppins moment. And so, but like Ahsoka, number one, she's just cool no matter who you are. She has an awesome story, and especially if like there's all those dumb gender things where like, oh, Star Wars is a boys thing. Star Wars is not a boys thing. So it's really cool, like especially for younger fans, to see like this really killer, female Jedi killing it.
Right. Yeah. So it's awesome and like you said, I mean, you don't see any other powerful female Jedis at all in Star Wars except for Rey and Leia, and So she's gonna. It
I mean,
should
you
be
hear
cool.
about him in like the expanded universe if you really want to get into that with like your Mara Jades and your Bastilashans and stuff. But I think that
They were
I don't
the
know.
Inquisitor, the female Inquisitor
Oh yeah, yeah, and in the video game too.
Rebels.
Did you
Yeah.
ever wind up finishing
No, I
Fallen
didn't.
Order?
No.
All right. Well, they had a couple in there as well.
Okay.
But yeah, it's nice that to have that at the very least.
Yeah. So, so that's cool.
Ahsoka's great.
Ahsoka's
More
great.
Ahsoka. I want to know more about Ahsoka. I want to see her in live action.
Well, you're going to
spin-off
in The
series.
Mandalorian, and there probably
Right.
will be a spin-off of her show, so that'll be pretty cool.
I hope so.
My last news article is about Obi-Wan. The Obi-Wan show is still in turmoil.
Oh boy.
Favreau and Dave Filoni's Mandalorian protege Deborah Chow is now at the helm. We talked about this. Fans were hoping that Obi-Wan will be getting back on the right track sooner rather than later. But we've now heard that it remains far from plain sailing. According to We Got This Covered again. I got 2 articles from We Got This Covered. They have intel from a secret person on the inside that apparently has told them about other things. McGregor would be returning. Lucasfilm still aren't happy with how the project is coming together, even with Deborah Chow in charge of it. So they're still trying to figure out. Shooting is still expected to begin on schedule, but tensions are reportedly high from both a creative and a technical point of view. So the cast is upset that they're not getting paid that much. And then the writers are not apparently doing a good job of, that's what it is. They hired a new writer, Joby Harold, in April. He wrote King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. And people are like, why do you keep hiring writers that wrote horrible movies before this? Well,
it's like Dave Benioff and D.B. Weiss when they got Game of Thrones. It was like, oh, what have they done before this? Oh, they did that terrible X-Men movie where they chopped off Deadpool's, or they sewed up Deadpool's mouth.
Right.
So like you would think you might look at their resume, take a look at their old movies and decide before then.
Yeah. So apparently they didn't do that. They just heard a name and said, "Well, you're hired." And then the cast is also upset that they're not getting paid a lot.
Well, I hear Disney doesn't have a whole lot of money.
Yeah, they're not doing that well. They're only a multi-billion-dollar company. So that's that. Now I have one more fun article. This is there was an article out there about Al Pacino.
Okay.
So he was one of the people who almost became Han Solo.
That's horrifying.
Yes, and so the article, which was dumb, but the dumb part of it was like, if Al Pacino was Han Solo, he would have made $20 million from doing all of these movies. I think Al Pacino's doing okay.
I think he's doing just fine.
I think he's doing just fine. So what I did instead was I Googled and looked up all the different people that did audition for Han Solo before our good friend Harrison got the job. So of course,
Harrison was reading the role as a stand-in for auditions.
Yeah,
like he worked as a carpenter, I think, on THX, I guess maybe the movie that John Wayne or George Lucas did beforehand. And he was from all the things I've heard is that Harrison Ford was sitting in on auditions as a stand-in just to kind of help out, and they wound up giving him the job.
Okay, so. Well, some people that he might have auditioned with, we just talked about Al Pacino, Sylvester Stallone.
God.
Christopher Walken. Can you imagine?
Wow.
I gotta have more cowbell.
Have you seen, there's an SNL skit from years ago of Star Wars auditions.
Oh, yes.
It's great. And it has Christopher Walken, it has Walter Matthau auditioning for Obi-Wan.
Yep.
It has Richard Dreyfuss auditioning for C-3PO. It's hysterical.
It was very funny.
If you haven't seen that YouTube, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's a very good time. Kurt Russell auditioned. And they also have people in this website. They also have people who auditioned for the new Solo movie as well. So I'm skipping over all those guys. Robert Englund, who is Freddy Krueger, auditioned for Han Solo. While he didn't land the gig, Englund took the script home with him because he thought his roommate would be perfect for the role of Luke Skywalker. And he was right. Englund's roommate at the time was none other than Mark Hamill. So
Wow.
Robert Englund turned it over to him.
Thanks, Robert.
Yeah, Logan Lerman, never heard of this guy after he was in The Perks of Being a Wallflower and Fury Lane. And Bill Murray.
Wow.
So this is funny. While still on Saturday Night Live, it was rumored that Bill Murray was up for Han Solo in A New Hope. In 2015, while at San Diego Comic-Con, Murray addressed the nearly 40-year-old rumor. He says, "I don't know if I was up for it. I can't tell you for sure, but I am working out in hopes of getting this new thing," he joked. "I'm doing a lot of swimming and Pilates." So he made a joke about this. That was pretty funny. And so that's it. There were all the people listed on this website of people who were also auditioning for Han Solo. So very cool.
They made the right call.
Yeah, I think Kurt Russell. If you look at young Kurt Russell, Kurt Russell looks a lot like young Han Solo. So I think maybe acting wise, he probably would have been okay in the same role. But Christopher Walken, Al Pacino, Sylvester Stallone, none of those guys. I'm glad that they did not.
Stallone, forget it.
Yeah,
I can't even imagine Sylvester Stallone in a Star Wars movie.
That's like when Arnold Schwarzenegger, when he was in the first Conan the Barbarian, it's not even his voice. Like, it's just his body. It's not even his voice.
Well, at that point, I guess he was pretty new to the country, right? So
yeah,
he
didn't have a good. Yeah, so yeah,
that's too funny.
But so that's that. So now, why are we actually here tonight? After all this news, why are we actually here? We have the top 10 moments in Star Wars history.
Top 10.
Top 10.
All time. Just now, are we just doing screen, like film?
All of mine were just from the films. So no Clone Wars, Rebels, or anything like that. So mine are from the films. Now, this is my list of top 10. Obviously, you're not going to agree with me because all Star Wars people can't agree on everything. But this is what I came up with as a top 10 for me. So my number 10, the Kessel Run.
The Kessel Run, all right, from Solo.
From Solo, because finally you hear about the Kessel Run all the time. How fast did he do it? In what, 4 parsecs or what was the?
It's less than 12. Parsecs.
Less than 12 parsecs. Yeah,
but that's if you round down.
Right.
Yeah, 40 some odd years ago, we heard that this ship made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs, which is a unit of distance,
right,
and not of time.
Not of time, yeah.
And so ever since then, there's been speculation fueled as to what the hell it was, and now we know.
So then we finally got to see it.
A giant space squid,
yes,
somewhere in the Kessel Run,
somewhere in the Kessel,
anymore, I guess.
So I know that was all fandom and all for the fans, but you know what? I'm happy because 40 years of wondering what it was. We finally got to see it.
Listen, sometimes fan service is good.
Yes, I agree. Number 9, the Jedi mind trick. You don't need to see his identification. These aren't the droids you're looking for. He can go about his business. Move along. As a kid, when you see that for the first time, you're like, what?
Yep.
Between that and lightsabers, I mean, everybody wanted to be a Jedi. Still do at 46.
I mean, just the idea as a kid of being at home and
being able to mind control your parents.
You will let me stay up past 9. Right? That was the dream back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, man. I still think it's pretty cool.
My number 8, Rey finding Luke.
Okay.
So, biggest cliffhanger ever. The whole movie.
I was so angry.
I know, right? The whole movie, we're waiting,
so
waiting. Come on, where's Luke? Where's Luke? You hear him in the commercials. You're like, oh. She sees him. She holds out the lightsaber. Credits.
I was so annoyed.
Yep.
I mean, I was excited because it was like the first new Star Wars I'd seen in however long. But as it got. I was looking at my watch, 2 hours in. They're not going to show him until the very end.
Yep.
I was so annoyed.
And there it was. So It made you just couldn't wait for the next movie because you're like, finally I see Luke and the credits roll. What? So so that was fun. The first Imperial March is my number 7.
Okay.
How many times you walk down the hallway and you're going dun 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 dun
It's
dun.
got a constant loop in my head.
I know, right? So it's got to be totally awesome. So that was my number 7 was the Imperial March, just like one of John Williams' iconic, soundtracks, and you're just like, oh.
I mean, it's John Williams, so everything he touches is going to get stuck in your head. But that between the Imperial March and Duel of the Fates, it's like some of the most like intense, dark, evil sounding stuff.
Yeah.
And Kylo Ren theme is one of my favorite things that came out of the new sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
It's just, again, it's got that same, it evokes the same sort of menacing qualities as Duel of the Fates and as the Imperial March. It's really dark. It's really kind of powerful. And again, John Williams uses this thing called leitmotif when he writes, where he uses these themes to represent different characters. And hearing this loud blaring brass, I don't know, it's just, it does something. And he does. I have some stuff to talk about too with leitmotif, because John Williams. We'll talk. John Williams is the man. Anyway,
John Williams is the man. Number 6 for me was Anakin losing his beep in Revenge of the Sith in episode 3, when he goes mad and kills all of the Tusken Raiders who kidnapped his mom.
That's episode 2.
Episode 2. I apologize.
Okay.
That was the moment. For me, and I've talked about this numerous times on the show, I wanted to see Anakin turn into Darth Vader. I wanted to see him get mad. So when he finally got mad, it wasn't such a whiny little, I'm going to make everybody just follow my directions. And meh. I was like, yeah, finally. So for me, I know that's not high for a lot of people, but for me, that's
okay. And if you listen to the music when that's happening, like Anakin is holding his dying mother, and then she passes away, and then like really subtle, like there's a silence, and then these strings just start doing these weird little kind of flourishes, and it's like building the tension, and his eyes come up and you see the anger, and it's like, it's a pretty cool scene. And then all of a sudden you're outside and you just see a Tusken Raider's head tumbling across the sand, and you're like, oh, he went nuclear.
Yeah, you shouldn't have done that. You made him mad.
you made the wrong Jedi angry.
And like at that point, that's when he's going to be Darth Vader, because he's angry. Never mind. My number 5, Darth Vader unmasked. When at the very end, finally, Luke, I am your father. Blah blah blah. We learn all about all that stuff. And then, he finally takes the mask off and he can see his dad for the first time. So that was
with or
cool.
without eyebrows.
With or without eyebrows, depending on, what year it is. Some years he has eyebrows, some years he doesn't. So
that's right.
Yep. So that's my number 5. Is
Vader Unmasked was one of mine too. But the big thing for me, and I actually use this in some of my classes, like I talked about earlier, this leitmotif thing where John Williams uses music to kind of push forward like the emotion of the scene. Mm-hmm. In that scene where he takes off Vader's mask, if you're listening carefully, we have the Imperial March playing. This bum 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 bum, but it's he completely changed the character of the piece to reflect what's going on. So whereas before we have this, we have Darth Vader, this powerful, evil, militaristic guy, we have big loud brass, we have drums, in sort of like a military cadence. Here he's unmasked. They've taken it and they've taken all of the substance out of it, and all we have is just the melody played by violin, like single string instruments, very slowly, very quietly, and it's like, if you're really listening and you're really like plugged into that, it's his way of showing like, here's this former BA, like strong, powerful, dark, evil dude who is now like a husk, a shell of his former self. All the power is draining out, all the evil's draining out, and it's just it's just the purest little bit of life left. I don't know. It was always the coolest thing for me to watch. And if you Google that scene and listen for it, you can really hear the little bit of the Imperial March that exists above that scene.
Awesome. Yes. I mean, it's John Williams is amazing. He just does an amazing job. So I agree 100% with all of that. One of your favorite scenes you've talked about many times, and you even talked about it about 5 minutes ago. Duel of the Fates is my number 4, because it was such a great, powerful scene, and the music was awesome, and everything about it was just it was the best part of the prequels.
And it was our first real lightsaber duel we had seen in, 20 years or so, 15 years.
And so much better, like so much more advanced.
They did their homework. They hired the right people, the fencing instructors. It was every kid who grew up watching Star Wars before the prequels. It's exactly what they wanted to see in a lightsaber battle.
Yeah, when you watch Episode 4 and you see Darth Vader with just like one hand going like this, bink, 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 and then you're watching Duel of Fates and Darth Maul's like, bah, 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 and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So so Duel of the Fates. Number 3, greatest Han Solo moment of all time. Princess Leia saying, "I love you," and his response is, "I know."
I know. Oh yeah.
Just like you're a BA when Princess Leia says, "I love you," and your response is not "I love you" back, but it's "I know." So
apparently that was an improvisation by Harrison Ford.
Oh, nice.
Which just makes it amazing. And of course, they have the great callback to that scene in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
When Kylo Ren is talking to the, I guess, specter of his father. And he finally, at the end of their conversation, you can see the walls coming down and he's becoming Ben Solo again. And he like breaks a little bit and he says, "Dad." He calls him Dad and he can't say anymore. And Han Solo just says, "I know." And that can be easily written off as like he knows it's his son, but like it's very clearly in there as like a reference,
Yeah.
His son wanted to say, "I love you, Dad."
Yeah.
But Han was like, "I already know.
I already know. You don't need to say it. I already
so
know."
it's just very, the way they brought that back was very nice.
Yes, 100%. Number 2, "I Am Your Father."
It's a great one.
It's a great one.
And again, the story behind that with only James Earl Jones and Luke knowing exactly what was going on.
Yes. So
right, because they had told basically everyone, and they had alternate copies of the script made where instead of him saying "I am your father," he says that Obi-Wan killed your father.
Yes.
Which, if you look at it from a certain point of view, as Obi-Wan says.
If you go back to Episode 3 where Obi-Wan does destroy Anakin, then you could say that he did kill his father. So
yeah, but so it was pretty excellent.
It was pretty excellent. And then finally, number 1 for me was the Death Star attack run. The whole scene, everything about it, because it was so iconic and it was so like as a kid, you're just watching and you're like, oh my gosh. And they blow up the ultimate, military weapon with Luke not even using any of the sensors, just using all his force and everything like that. Yeah. It was just such a great scene.
Honest to goodness, looking back on it with 2020 goggles, yes, you can look at it and go, I can see where this is not real.
Right.
But the effects hold up remarkably well in that fight scene, even today. It's amazing, even with the technological limitations he had, what he was able to do just using miniatures and
all the models and stuff like that. And it's funny, we say miniatures, but some of the models were the size of a whole warehouse. So, but in comparison,
planet size.
In comparison to a planet, it is a miniature still. But yes, so they were able to do amazing things.
An outstanding. And I honestly, I got into Star Wars a little late. I always watched Star Wars when I was a kid, like when my parents would have it on and stuff. But I really got into Star Wars in '96 when the special editions were released in the movie theaters.
Okay, yep.
I saw A New Hope. The first time I really sat down and watched Star Wars was in the movie theater.
Okay,
watching A New Hope. And when you get to that last scene and you're a kid and you've never seen it before and you see on the big screen.
Oh yeah,
it was just killer.
It was killer.
It still held up, and I still enjoy watching that scene today. I had a couple of things that you had mentioned. I had a couple different ones as well. The duel in Cloud City is one of my all-time iconic Star Wars moments. It was like one of the first times I like saw when I was a kid that like, oh, Jedi aren't a joke. You know what I mean? Like you have Darth Vader like hurling objects through the sky.
Yeah.
You have like Luke get dropped into this tub, and Vader basically like, oh, I thought that would be harder. And then you see Luke just jump out like a bunny on steroids, and just like cling to the stuff up top. I always thought that was that is one of two lightsaber battles in the prequels that still kind of hold up. That one and the one in Return of the Jedi, I think, while they're not as exciting or acrobatic as the ones in the prequels, they're emotionally charged enough that they work. And I think not having Sir Alec Guinness, an old man, having to do it helped.
Yeah, it definitely helped a lot.
Yeah. So that was one of mine that I definitely had. Any of the Yoda stuff. Empire Strikes Back is my favorite of all time. I'm one of those people. There are lots of us out there.
Mm-hmm.
And like the way they made Yoda's personality was just excellent to me, because again, they introduced him as this goofball little Muppet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. In the beginning, when he first lands on the planet, and he's just this little, like you said, like a goofball, like he's trying to steal stuff from him, and he's just acting really weird. And you're like, looking back and watching it for third, fourth, 10th time, whatever, you're like, wait a minute, what happened? He went from this like just this little elf type, creature to a Jedi master, and you're like, that was pretty cool. It was a good introduction.
They did a good job with the later movies, kind of showing that he is both of those things. You know what I mean? He is that wise old Jedi who like is stoic and can teach about all these philosophy things, but he's also that weird little gremlin troll Muppet who likes to do silly things, like when he lights the tree on fire and just starts laughing hysterically. It's like, oh, I'm still teaching you. I'm still smacking your droid on the head with a stick and stealing your food. 40 years later, you know what I mean? So that anything really there, but Ahsoka. Now this isn't a Star Wars movie thing, but I don't even care. Ahsoka jumping during the Siege of Mandalore.
Oh yes,
out of that ship. And just taking out however many ships along with her, and
when the clone trooper's like, you don't have a jetpack on, she's like, I'm fine.
I'm good. I got this.
Don't worry about it.
And we talked about this when Clone Wars came out a couple months ago. Is that was like the coolest show of Jedi power I think they've shown yet in Star Wars media. And she's not even. I mean, they've been building up Ahsoka's power. She's clearly a powerful Jedi, but like. She's not a Skywalker.
No, she's not a Skywalker.
Maybe someday she will attain the rank of Skywalker.
She will get to that rank of Skywalker, but she has to get back into. You have to be a Jedi. She's not a Jedi.
Not a Jedi. That's true.
She's just very, very force sensitive. So maybe she'll be, I don't know, some other.
She'll make her own thing.
Make her own thing. That's right.
She does.
Yeah.
I think this is my number one. I could be wrong because it's one of the newer ones, and my number ones change all the time. But the last scene of Rogue One, with Vader on the ship and all the black hallway, and all of you see sudden you see his lightsaber light up, is maybe one of the most excited moments I've ever had watching Star Wars.
Because it ties it back into Episode 4. Is that where you're going?
Perfectly. Well, it does tie it in so perfectly. Like it's like, hey, I hope you have the next Blu-ray queued up, because it goes right in.
Because don't even go to the bathroom. It just goes right from there. Boom, right in there.
You're stuck on the couch for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
But again, they have had Anakin Skywalker as a character since 1977. That's almost 45 years now. And they never really adequately showed, I think, how powerful he was until that scene. Like, you see that scene, and I think that's just one of the pushes now, is that because we see so much Star Wars and so much Jedi, they have to, there has to be a reason Anakin and Darth Vader were special, right? So if they're showing all these other people do these crazy things, they have to bump him up, because he's got to be that much. Doing that in a lot of the media. They did that in the video game too, where he's not even a boss you can fight.
Right.
He's supposed to be.
He's so much of a boss. It's not even worth it.
That literally one of the last parts of this game, spoiler alert, is not you fighting Darth Vader. It's you running away from him as he takes the ship that you're on and just starts destroying it and throwing at you with the Force.
Okay.
And so this Rogue One, this last scene in Rogue One, was the first time we really saw, like, here's a corridor filled of men with guns, and they are all just crapping themselves in fear.
Yeah.
He's lifting them up. He's shooting the bolts back at them. He's got a guy just pinned to the ceiling with the Force, and they're terrified.
Yep.
They're running away from him. They're screaming, and it is the coolest bit of and that's what I want to see. I want to see a movie, and they never will because it's Star Wars. It's owned by Disney. I just don't see it. But I want to see a dark side centric Star Wars movie. I want them to follow a Sith character, and I like them to be the main character. I don't know if I'll ever have it. That I think might be one of my number one for sure. The Rogue One ending.
Awesome. Well, I think it's a great number one as well.
Yeah.
So I think with that, I don't know. We're out of ideas for today's show. That's
we're done.
We're
All
done.
the Star Wars content has leaked out of our brains.
It has.
And now we have to spoon it back in somehow.
Yep. Have to find some new
You
stuff.
can help us with that.
Please
right?
do.
If you have any topics that you would like for us to cover over the next couple of weeks, we're gonna be ramping up our social media presence. We're gonna be recording a little more. You can expect another show from us within the next couple of weeks here. We've got we've got school where we might be getting ready for. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen come September? But we do know we will still be talking Star Wars come September.
100%.
So make sure you're ready for that.
Yep. So I think I don't know. I mean, Mandalorian's coming out in October, so our goal is to have 2 episodes in August, September, 2 episodes in September, and then once October rolls around and the Mandalorian season 2 starts up, we're going to be back every week talking about each of those episodes.
Talking every episode. Just hopefully we'll be back in the building so that me and Rob here can, on our prep periods, meet in a classroom and watch the episods on a big screen. We'll see if we're even allowed in the same classroom when that happens next year.
With our masks on and everything like that.
But if you have any drink suggestions, you have any Star Wars drinks you want us to try, if you have any topics you want us to cover, if you have, what did we mention earlier for people to do? Didn't we ask them to do something?
Yes. So it was way, way back in the news. No, I forget.
I forget what we. If you
Pedro
were
Pascal
earlier,
Pedro Pascal. Was it the Gal Gadot over Baby Yoda? Yes. So who would win in a fight?
Thoughts about as to who would win a fight, either Wonder Woman or Baby Yoda?
Yep.
We want to know why, and we want to know what you think. So send us an email, talk to us on Instagram or Facebook at Bantha Milk Podcast, on Twitter at Bantha Milk. Send us an email at banthamilkpodcast@gmail.com. Go to our website, banthamilkpodcast.com. Check out our Ears Up family, Ears Up podcast. But yeah, I want to know. I have some thoughts about Gal Gadot, or rather Wonder Woman and Baby Yoda. But I want to know what your thoughts are.
Who do you think would win in a fight, Wonder Woman or Baby Yoda? That's
that could be a fun new session of a section of our show.
There you go.
Every week to discuss what Star Wars character versus what DC or Marvel character.
There you go. And we have to try and figure out a way to keep them linked up like this, because Pedro Pascal worked with both of them. So now we need to try
That's true.
It's going to be very complicated, but we'll figure something out.
All right. So if you send us your thoughts, give us another matchup. If you send us your thoughts and you have a thought about Baby Yoda and Wonder Woman, send us your thoughts for another Star Wars DC or Star Wars Marvel mashup.
We could do Giancarlo Esposito versus Giancarlo Esposito in Breaking Bad versus The Mandalorian. Who would win?
Oh boy, I don't know, because we haven't seen much of him in The Mandalorian yet, but he was pretty formidable in Breaking Bad.
He was very formidable in Breaking Bad.
He at least had chicken. Ooh.
He did. Polo Loco chicken. Yes, I'm gonna go for that.
All right, y'all.
All right.
This has been a hoot. We are Bantha Milk Podcast coming at you right here. Hopefully, in another couple weeks. Anything else for the good of the cause, Mr. Rob?
I don't think so. I think this was another great episode, Nick, all because of you. You do wonderful work every time. I'm very proud of you.
You stop it. You stop it. It's all you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. From all of us over here at Bantha Milk Headquarters, we have spoken.
We have spoken.